Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about the prayer of Examen. This might be a new practice for you, but I think you'll enjoy it and I think you'll get a lot of benefit out of it, especially if you do it as a family or as a small community group. The idea behind the prayer of Examen is that it is looking for God's activity in your daily life, which oftentimes we go for a complete day, sometimes days or weeks or longer, without really thinking about God's activity and His presence in our life. Or if we look for God's activity and presence, we look for these very large, very spiritual, very grandiose kind of mountaintop experiences. And if we only wait around to have those experiences, then we're going to find that God is not very present in our life, and we're going to have a lot of "where is God" type feelings or conversations. And so this prayer is designed to help you have a daily time of reflection and think back over your day of where is God. It's a very simple thing to do, and we can break it into two parts: consolation and desolation. And so I usually simplify this for our groups, or also when we do it as a family, I simplify this to very simple things of the first part being thank you, God, for, and then we'll name something. And the second part being I'm sad about, I'm afraid about, I'm upset about, or whatever word is fitting to what you're about to say, and then we recognize that. And so what you do is you want to think about very specific things, particularly in that day, or if you haven't done it maybe in the past couple days, in the past couple of days. So rather than saying thank you for my husband, or thank you for my wife or my children, or thank you, God, for everything you provide, we try to think of specific things that are in that moment. And the same thing goes for desolation. We don't think about general things that we're upset about, the refugee crisis or who won the presidential election, or we try to think of specifics that happened that day, and particularly as they relate to us personally. So when we're speaking of God's blessing to us, we want to think about small, everyday, common things that we don't normally think about. Were you working on a project today and you hit a wall and maybe you had some insight which helped you finish the project? Maybe you're dealing with an issue with your children, or getting something done around the house, or working on the car, or any number of challenges in your day that you overcame. Usually we don't think about, did God help me with that or not? We just fix it, move on, and that's it. But the prayer of Examen is designed to make you think back through those things and to give thanks to God, because in whatever capacity that you're able to do good in your life, we would say ultimately this is God's blessing to us. The reverse is also true. When we speak of desolation, we want to put all of our complaints in light of who God is, in light of His sovereignty, in allowing these things to happen to us. Also, this is a time to recognize that when some things happen to us, they trigger other things. This is a chance for us to talk about small sins before they grow into larger sins. I'll just give you one, for instance, from my own life. I'm a big extrovert. I love to go speak to a crowd or even to a small group. I get a lot of energy, a lot of adrenaline rush from talking to people that I don't actually get talking to a camera. This feels kind of weird to me. But I'll go to an event, and then I'll speak to people for 3 days straight. And then I'll fly home, and I'm exhausted, and I'm all alone on the car ride home. And that's for some reason when I decide to start figuring out my life problems. And through that lens, I start thinking about people who didn't answer my email, or who didn't come to an event, or who in some way have not followed the expectation that I wanted them to. That's not a very healthy thing. And one of these times, I caught myself, and I realized that it's like a set of dominoes. It triggers one after another down this spiral, when in reality, a lot of really fantastic things have happened to me. And so in that moment, I will stop as I'm driving and take a few minutes to do the prayer of Examen. And I'll say, thank you, God, and I'll list the specific things from that day and that event that I'm thankful for. Thank you, God, for the opportunity to speak. Thank you, God, for those who showed up and listened attentively and seemed to be interested in applying the ideas to their own ministry. Thank you, God, for those contacts I made, and thank you that I didn't say anything stupid that would get me thrown out while I was in the middle of talking to everyone. And then when I have to start saying the things I'm sad about, it's put in the light of gratitude, which we've been working on through the book Living into Community. But one other thing she talks about in Living into Community is the idea that if we had to voice our complaints, sometimes they're legitimate complaints that need to be voiced, and now we have community accountability to help us address those complaints and problems. But the flip side is a lot of times we have complaints that are really rather dumb, and when we say them out loud, either to ourselves or to others, we realize how petty and sometimes just downright stupid our complaints are. And so done in that light, rather than sitting there and dwelling on what didn't happen, actually having to verbalize, one, appreciation to God for what did happen, and two, verbalizing complaints and putting them in light of recognizing them and confessing them, if you will, to God, this helped me keep a handle on that. And so rather than it developing into a larger pattern, which is just my own issue, it was able to end right there. Now, I don't know what your issue is. I don't know what your triggers are, but certainly you have some trigger in your life that when that thing or that person or that event happens or you get around them, all of a sudden that starts a pattern of negative behavior. And we're going to call it negative behavior, eventually sin, at some point in your life. And so if we can take daily times to recognize the good things and the bad things, the things we're worried about, afraid about, upset about that happened, in small little ways, I think this will be very cleansing and cathartic. And so I think you should try this as a group or as a family. We try to do it regularly. We're not as regular as we should be or as we used to be, but we try to do it regularly. And so we pick the time of the dinner time, and we will just go in very simple rounds of thank you, God, for, and when it seems that we're kind of tapped out, then we'll say I'm sad about, or I'm afraid about, or worried about, and then we'll go through those things. You're about to watch us do this, and so I set up the camera on the table, and we did this as a family. First off, let me prepare you. If you're imagining some really great spiritual thing is about to happen, don't. Remember, we're focusing on seeing God's activity in little ways in our life, not only waiting for those big mountaintop experiences. And so nothing we say in the next few moments is going to blow you away or impress you as we're some kind of super spiritual people. We're really not. And this prayer isn't going to make you sound super spiritual. If anything, it's going to make you sound like you think about really small details in your day. But it's so much better to think about those really small details in your day and to process them in light of who God is than to not think of them at all. For your day to just happen, and then you go to sleep, and then you move on. And it's like bricks. You set out bricks to make a wall. Bricks are very small and insignificant, but over time they build up into something. And so you don't want your wall to be the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which is about to fall over. You want your wall to be something significant and productive and healthy in your life. And you'll also notice some pretty comical moments. The children find some things funny. I'm going to throw Benjamin under the bus and just say, watch what he says. Particularly with the gesture, it's kind of humorous, and we have no clue what game it is. We've never seen him play it, but he's pretty excited about it and thankful for it. And then finally, as you do this as a group, remember to get specific. It's very easy to not think about your day and then to come to this exercise and treat it like a ritual. And when you treat it like a ritual, you're going to want to just be very generic. And it takes discipline, thought, and processing to get back into your day and think about what happened and what was the positive or negative result from that and what do we need to do in response to it. And so there's several times where I might ask a follow-up question to someone in the room if they are very, very generic. Now, sometimes being generic, especially if you do this as a small group, is a way to not be overly burdensome in detail or to not overshare, and that's okay. You want to be sensitive to that. At the same time, this provides a space where people can express that everything is not going exactly how they thought it should be going, or exactly how their expectations in God or others have set them to be. And so you do want to try to get specific, at the same time balancing that against some of these other concerns. So I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope you take time to practice the prayer of Examen in your daily life. Okay, so we're going to start with thank you, God, for, and then we're going to go around and I'm sad about. Okay? Okay. So I will start it. Thank you, God, for this wonderful dinner that Mama made. What do you think for Benjamin?
Playing toilet tag.
Toilet tag? Okay, we can be thankful for toilet tag.
It's a type of tag. Flush the toilet and run.
Okay.
And the game can start running.
Yeah, okay. Savannah, what about you?
Thank you for a brain.
Thank you for a brain. Why are you thankful for a brain?
I think so I can think and have an imagination.
Thank you, God, that we had a half day at school today.
Ooh, half day at school.
Thank you, God, that Mama made this wonderful tea.
We do like Mama's tea, don't we?
Thank you, God, for all the good helpers making dinner tonight. I could not have done it without Savannah grating the Parmesan, or Brian helping with the chicken,
I'm helping with Jack.
and helping with Jack. That's right. A lot of people helped with Jack, didn't they?
Thank you, God, for the progress I made on the project I was working on today.
Wait, Daddy, look at Jack.
Yeah, I think Jack's thankful for his noodles. Jack, are you thankful for your noodles, buddy? Yes?
Say yeah.
All right, Benjamin, what about you?
I'm sad for me getting hurt from my chin.
Did you see his chin?
Wow, you did get hurt on your chin, buddy.
I'm sad.
You can do either one.
I'm sad that my best friend wasn't at school.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because she's sick.
Isra?
No. Who
A
that?
different friend?
Emily, what about you?
Thank you, God, for all the extra playtime that I got outside.
We're looking for sad.
No, you said
It could be either one, Sophie.
That said we could do either one.
What about you, Sophie?
And mini tag.
And mini tag? You're thankful for a lot of games today, I think.
I think they had a good day playing outside.
All I want to do is drink the tea, eat the
What about you,
noodles.
Sophie? Did you have anything sad happen today? No?
I can't bring the day hurt.
Yeah.
What about whenever you got in the van crying today?
Uh-oh, what was that about?
When it was time to go, it was yesterday. It was Lear's birthday, and when it was already time to go, I didn't get one. He was passing it around while we were in the gym. He didn't even come to the gym, but one of my friends did. He was in the gym. He had a sibling.
Did he? Do you have another sad thing maybe about your hair today? What's the story on that?
It got caught in my new jacket. Then I just cut the part that got caught.
Are you supposed to use scissors on your hair?
What about you, baby?
More, Jack? I'm grateful that I'm starting to feel better.
I'm grateful that you're starting to feel better.
I'm probably grateful for that.
That's always hard. Benjamin, what about you?
Got my tea.
You love your tea. Everybody loves Mama's tea. Savannah?
I'm grateful that everybody's getting better.
We've been sick for a long time. For real.
And I'm grateful that everyone in the whole wide world is feeling better.
Well, I don't know that that's actually true. There's probably a lot of people in the world that aren't feeling better. Emily, what about you?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
See?
Sophie, what about you?
Not sure. I forgot.
You forgot?
Already.
All right, well, let me close this in prayer. God, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for all these wonderful blessings you've given us in the small here and now details for each one of us every day. We thank you for your presence and your activity in our life. We're very grateful that everybody is feeling better, and we're thankful for this food. We ask your blessing in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.